like to welcome you to my Tour of Idaho series of videos. Saw in the intro there, I kind of pulled into this waterfall here. It's called Falls Creek Falls. It's a really cool place, about an hour outside Idaho Falls, and the road back in here is paved, all except for the last couple hundred yards of it, and it just brings you these beautiful falls right here. I just thought I would share these with you on my opening, and what I'll do is I'll put in a map today, or a map right here of the ride we're going to do today, and we'll just cruise our way around, and if I find something interesting or something I figure you guys might enjoy, I'll go ahead and throw it in. And just appreciate you guys coming along on my ride, and I hope to bring you a lot of neat sights like this. So we'll see you at the next stop. Well, welcome back everyone. We're just pulling into Afton, Wyoming, and it's in the Star Valley, which is, I don't know, it's a valley that's fairly long, but this valley's got some pretty interesting stuff going on in it. One of the things is, I don't know if you guys remember Rulon Gardner, but he was a gold medal wrestler. He came from Afton, Wyoming here, so this is a little town just basically wedged in between a couple mountain ranges. As you can see here in front of me, they've got what they call the world's largest elk antler arch. So it's kind of a neat, this is a little downtown area. It's kind of a neat way to welcome you to their town. And another interesting fact about this Star Valley area is just up the road, back up behind me a little ways, there's a little town called Freedom, Wyoming. And in that town, they make Freedom arms. If you guys are pistol and especially revolver buffs, you've probably heard of them. They make some high quality handguns there. Another thing that I've heard, and a friend of mine said that he actually witnessed, is the King Richard Petty has a house here someplace, and my friend actually ran into him one time at the grocery store, I guess. So that's kind of neat. You never know what you'll run into in these little towns. Anyway, I just, oh, one other thing. If you guys have ever watched any airplane aerobatics at air shows, I'm not sure if they're still made here, but back not too long ago, the Pitts Aircraft Company was based out of this little town here. The airport's just right over to my right here, actually. And like I say, I'm not sure if they're still here or if they're even still in business, but they used to make aerobatic biplanes, and which is kind of cool. Another little small town thing that you know, it's just interesting to know that these little towns can have all this diversity and all these cool businesses. In fact, right here, this gas station right here in that little hotel is actually owned by Rulon Gardner, the wrestler. Anyway, we're gonna head on down the road here, and I'm not sure where we'll stop next. I think my next planned stop is in Montpelier, Idaho, so we'll see you then. Well, it looks like the museum's closed because of all the stuff that's been going on here lately, so I guess we'll just head on up the road. Was going to eat lunch here, but it looks like it must be play day for all the kids in the neighborhood here, and the moms are all here feeding the kids lunch, so we'll just run up the hill, find us a spot up in the mountains here, get some lunch. We'll see you then. Well, we found us a nice little spot to pull over and get some lunch. Today we're going to be having some chicken creations, a little chicken salad on some tortillas. So that'll be pretty good. I'll give you a look around at what we got. This is it's like a trailhead for off-road vehicles. They've got a lot of off-road vehicle trails in this area, and you can tell it's really nice up here. We have some threatening thunderstorms, but I think those shouldn't amount to much today. So anyway, I wish I could have brought you some more of the Oregon Trail Museum back there in Montpelier, but as I said earlier, they're closed. So, but we still got a couple other places to visit before this day's over with. So I'm gonna grab some lunch, and we'll see you out on the road. Well, welcome back everyone. Now we're entering Preston, Idaho. And like the last, well, not the last town, the town before that we entered, this town has a story too. This is the town where they filmed Napoleon Dynamite. So, if you guys have ever seen that movie, everything that in that movie was filmed within like 10 miles of town here. Back when the housing crash hit, I had been in construction my whole life, and mainly housing. And back when that crash hit, I ended up having to be a traveling salesman. So I'm sure most of you have heard of the Schwann's man, and maybe even some of you have ordered ice cream from him. But anyway, this was part of my route down here in Preston. So I got to, meet a lot of the people in this town, and got to meet some of the people that were actually in the movie. And I'll continue my story here in just a minute. So anyway, like I was saying, I got to meet some of the people that were in the movie, and actually and their grandparents and everything else. It was kind of funny. You'd go to some of these people's houses, and they have pictures of their kids or grandkids that were in the movie, which I thought was kind of funny. This is kind of neat. Everybody's kind of really proud of this, the fact that they had, their kids had a chance to be in a movie that ended up being a cult classic. So let's see here. I think if I can still remember my way around this place, we'll see if I can make my way back over to the high school here. So here it is. Here's the high school. It was in the movie. And I don't know if you remember, there was a kid in the movie that slammed Napoleon up against the lockers. Anyway, he ended up being one of my customers when I was working for Schwann's, and I'll tell you that he was nothing like the character he played on the movie. Just a super nice guy. Lived up on his parents' farm up in the foothills, and just the coolest guy. It was just kind of neat to see him, and I kind of recognized him and stuff, but he never really said that he was in the movie. But later on, after I got to know him a little bit, he clued me in on he was. But anyway, I just thought I'd share that little tidbit with you. It's just funny how these little towns all have a story. So, well, we'll continue on our journey. I have the only stop I got planned from here is where I'm going to camp tonight. So if there's something interesting before then, I will get back with you. Well, we're at a place called Twin Springs. This isn't going to be our final stop for the night, but just figured I'd stop here and stretch my legs. I've pretty much been on the bike for about 6 hours, except for fuel and the lunch stop you saw earlier today. So we're about an hour away from our destination tonight where we're going to camp. So figured just stop here for a minute, stretch our legs. This was a stop on one of the shortcut roads for the Oregon Trail. It didn't last too long. I guess they abandoned it after only a couple of years, but it's kind of a neat place, and I don't know if you guys can hear all the birds and everything around here, but it's teeming with wildlife. There's a ton of stuff going on around here. Anyway, so we got like I said, about an hour left till we get to our next destination, and the final destination for day one, and we'll see you there. Well, welcome back. I got camp all set up. I'm staying at Massacre Rocks State Park. I didn't really film much of setting up camp or anything. I got a few stills in I'll throw right here. There's a ton of people there, and I wanted to hurry up and get camp set up because there's only like 2 more open spots left. And I'm here on a Wednesday, so this is that tells me that it's going to be on the weekends. You better have reservations or you ain't getting in. Anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to head over to this historical marker called Register Rock, and what it is a place that the guys on the Oregon Trail signed their name to. So we'll go over there and check that out, and while we're on our way over, I'll kind of tell you how Massacre Rocks got its name. I don't believe there was ever a massacre there during the time of the Oregon Trail, but they always thought it would be a good place for a massacre because he went down in between the rocks, and you know, it was like a perfect place for an ambush. So they call it Massacre Rocks. Supposedly, at one point, the Indians did kind of stop a wagon train in there and hold them captive. So it's kind of interesting. There's a lot of history in this area. I'll come back with you when we get to Register Rock. Well, here we are. We made it to Register Rock. We're about, I don't know, 3 miles or so from the Massacre Rock State Park. I was kind of looking, and there was a pretty deep canyon over to the left of me when I was riding up here. So, I got a state parks pass, so I'm good. I'm just wondering if that little canyon is the one they were talking about, when they said it was a good place for a massacre. So anyway, maybe we'll find out more here in a minute. We'll just park right here, and looks like it's right there underneath that awning there. Well, here we are at Register Rock. I got a picture of the sign here that kind of explains what it's all about. And what it says is this is a common place to camp with the spring and the creek right here to graze the livestock and kind of rest up. And after they got done setting up the camp for the night, they would put the inscriptions of their names on the rock. So we'll look at some of those right now. See, they are pretty clear there. A lot of them etched in there. 1882, that one says. And I'm not sure how good the GoPro's picking it up, but this rock is completely covered with these things. So we'll kind of go around here and look at some more. There's a few more there. Let's see some of the dates. 1862, 1872. That's pretty neat, man. Just to think that these people were cruising across here in covered wagons, and I don't know how many months they'd been on the road before they got to here. And you know, all the troubles they went through going through all the Native American lands, and maybe the problems they had with those guys, and you know, drought and no water for the oxen or feed or any of that kind of stuff. It's pretty amazing. There's a couple more down here on the bottom, it looks like. From 1885, it looks like. There's a few more on there. I can't quite read what they all are. 1860 something. But that's pretty amazing to be able to kind of check out this piece of history here. I did find one more here. Not sure if you can make it out, but I can't read the name, but the date is 1849. So, you know, that's gold rush era. So that's pretty cool. Pretty neat stuff. Here's a cool drawing of an Indian head, and right over here is a preacher head. I'm not sure you can make that out. I can barely make that one out. But in 1908, a kid named J.J. Hansen, you can see his name down there at the bottom, carved this on his way out to Oregon. So I'll put a picture of the story here and you guys can check that out. Well, I was going to take you guys over to some wagon wheel ruts, but the road was closed off on the way to get there, and it's about a 5-mile hike in. So I think we'll skip that for this time, and you know, that'll give me an excuse to come back and show those to you later. So we'll head on back to camp, and we'll probably walk down by the river, and then we'll wait for a sunset, and then I'll sign off, and we'll see you guys in the morning. thanks for coming along on today's trip around southeastern Idaho, day one. Today we started out in Idaho Falls, cruised around down through Wyoming. I kind of missed that on my intro video a couple weeks ago. Then we went into Mount Pelier, where we were going to visit the Oregon Trail Museum, but it was closed because of all the stuff that's going on. And then hit a spring where the people on the Oregon Trail went to as they came up towards here at Massacre Rocks. Then we went down and visited the Register Rock, where all those people scratch their names into the rock, and that was pretty cool. It was a really good day. Today we did 328 miles, and it took us about, I don't know, about 8 hours in total with all the stops and everything. Well, I do appreciate you coming along on today's ride. Make sure you come back. I've got, I think, 3 more days of this on the tour, so it ought to be fun. So make sure you tune back in and subscribe, and if you want to see those. I'll leave you with some sounds of nature here, and you can just enjoy the views along with me. We'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.